Digression.
No. I'm not having it.
I mean, is it food we're talking about?
Definitely.
It's very juicy.
Come on.
But I'm just stating facts.
What were we talking about?
What's up, guys? Salut. My name is Alex, and I make food videos on YouTube.
Hello, my name's Josh, and I edit Alex's food videos on YouTube.
What's up, Josh? How about you, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm all good. I'm rested, feeling energetic, especially after the end of year last year, the latest series we published on the channel.
So you recovered from the 12 episode ordeal that was the Saucisson series.
More or less. I think I'm almost there. It was like such a great series from the creation point of view.
Yeah.
I think this is something we've talked about. This is something we've shared. The structure, the arc, going up and down, discovering new sources, meeting new people, and we did all that despite the situation.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was the thing. I think what I was very pleased about with it was that we set out to have a series that had, like you said, had an arc, and we meet different characters, and each episode brings something new to the table, and it's not an easy thing to accomplish, but I think we both felt like it. Out of all the series, it's the one that sort of met that the most. After we've announced that we're going to start working in a series format almost exclusively.
Exactly. We announced, and in this series at least, we delivered.
Yes, which might not have been the case, but I think we managed it, yeah. And like you said, despite the fact that there was a lot of restrictions given lockdowns and various other things, but
so many things got cancelled in this series.
Yeah. So
many things that I was supposed to do just got out of the way. I wanted to go to Italy for the sauce tomate episode. Work duties, as we call them.
Yeah.
Just going to Italy, stuffing my face with like pastas and sauce tomate. This couldn't happen. I had a few, meetings or people I wanted to have in the video, and that couldn't be done. But still, the series is up there. It's been quite popular with the audience as well. I'm glad it did. And I think it also ended up on a different episode than the others. We always try to find a funny, interesting, appealing ending for series. And this particular one was a different one. So if you're not familiar with the ending, at the end of this big series about French sauces, we discover that basically the 5 mother sauces that were defined by French cooks have been translated wrong when they have been made public outside of France. I don't know if that makes sense.
You've said that in such a diplomatic and overly complicated way. What you're trying to say is some English guy back in the day ruined your beloved sauce system.
Exactly. And so the initial sauces are brown sauce, so that is Espagnol. Then you've got white sauce, that is bechamel. You've got velouté sauce. It's some kind of a white version of the brown sauce. You've got sauce tomate. And then the fifth one, sauce tomate being tomato sauce. And then you've got the fifth one, which, according to the internet, according to everyone outside of France, is Hollandaise sauce.
Let me ask you just quickly, do you think that now, even inside of France a little bit, some people consider Hollandaise?
Everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the worst. So it boomeranged on us. It started from France, got distorted along the way, and then it came back to us. And now, if you ask people, like food bloggers in France, would definitely publish something about the 5 mother sauces, and they include something that doesn't come from us. So the thing that doesn't come from us is that an Englishman in the beginning of the 19th century, is it the 20th century? At the beginning of the 20th century, an Englishman translated the work of Escoffier, which is this super iconic French chef who defined the mother sauces in the first place, and he took what did he took?
He took mayonnaise And he said,
He took mayonnaise.
Look, I'm going to do a historical reenactment for you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So
thank you very much.
his name was probably Giles. Okay. And he's looking at this book by this French chap called Escoffier, and says here, old boy, that mayonnaise is a mother sauce. I mean, you can't have mayonnaise, mother sauce. Imagine serving the Queen mayonnaise. No, this simply will not do. What can we have that's more luxurious than... what about hollandaise? Yes, never mind this silly French classification. We're going to change this. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Okay, hollandaise sauce it is, and from now on, that's how it will be known, because we're British, dear boy, and we make the rules, you see?
I've been watching the series The Crown, and I felt just in it while you were doing the impression. And so this, misadapted translation then got... if it were to be a YouTube video, it would go viral. The work of this English guy went viral and then got exported to the US, and so to everywhere on the planet. And then the whole world thinks that Espagnol, velouté, sauce tomate, béchamel, and then the fifth sauce is hollandaise. Where in reality, no French chef ever said that. Mayo is supposed to be a mother sauce. Hollandaise is not. So basically the end of the series, of the YouTube series we posted end of year last year, was exactly about that. Rewriting a Wikipedia article and trying to put mayo back on the map. And that was like a fun thing to do, first of all, to write a Wikipedia article, because I didn't know you could write just an article on Wikipedia. And then second, it was a personal achievement or a personal win for me to just put mayo back on the map, because I like mayo very much. I think it's a very simple sauce. I think it's a humble sauce. I think it's a brilliant sauce from the science point of view. It's a true emulsion, where, for example, Hollandaise is not exactly a true emulsion. It's an emulsion as well, but slightly different. It's a bit more complicated. And it's so obvious. It's the sauce we all know, we all love. Why don't we give credits to the simple things? Why does it have to be posh? Especially when it's supposed to come from the French. It would have given us so much is probably a bit much, but it would have given us a touch of humility, us French people. People would just be, these French, they're so snob about their food. Well, hold on a second. Don't they have mayo as a mother sauce? Yes, they do. You see, they're not only snob. They can also be down to earth from time to time.
Why is mayonnaise, why is it thought of in that way? As a sort of a common thing, not special, not fancy.
It has to be connected with the number of ingredients used to make it. Because it can't be the process. The process is not that easy to master. It can fail. Mayonnaise is in fact known to fail from time to time.
But it doesn't fail as much as hollandaise, I wouldn't say.
Yeah, you're right. Correct. But also hollandaise has a bain-marie in its making. It has like a... is it shorter to make mayonnaise? I think it's shorter to make mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise
is
way easier than hollandaise sauce. You don't require any temperature control. There's not...
Yeah. It's way easier.
If you really break it down, you can... I would say if you stood next to someone telling them what to do, anybody could make a mayonnaise. But the bain-marie element of the hollandaise means that it's... it makes it way more difficult. I've messed up a lot more hollandaise sauces than I have mayonnaise.
Possibly another argument in favor of mayonnaise, I don't think it needs it, but still, egg, oil, and optionally still sort of required vinegar. Which means that it's very versatile because it doesn't have a flavor profile. I mean, it's going to be a little eggy somehow, maybe.
But it's mainly about it being creamy. That's the main...
that's only creamy. And then you add garlic, you turn it into this sauce, you add chive, that sauce, you add more vinegar, you make it a little more runny. Well, hollandaise, I mean, in the definition itself, it's like, it has a flavor profile.
Yeah.
Very much. It's lemony.
And buttery.
And buttery, exactly. It's butter, and butter is definitely... flavorful than oil for sure. Lemon is has more flavor profile than nothing. So Yeah, I can see why Hollandaise is definitely less of a mother sauce. I'm not going to discuss why the guy did that because I think you made a point. It's just arbitrary. It's just the guy decided on its own to just change it.
Well,
But-
this is the thing. Look,
Yeah.
it could have been an accident. It could have been an accident. However, unfortunately, and I don't like to say that coming from the same bit of land as that person, that there was a tendency for the British elite at the time back then to have no regard for anybody else's way of life classification, for anything basically. And if they thought that they had a better idea of how things should be, then they would change it. Much, which is unfortunate because we're not popular on the world stage because of people like that.
Yeah, but so aren't we? French cooks are considered to be the snobbiest out there.
Oh, so you think actually if this right could be wronged, it would bring a bit of humility back.
Oh
to...
yeah. We would consider so laid back. I think just with the mayo back on the map. No, I don't think it would solve the problem, but it would just help us fight in an argument. I think fight back, just saying, "Oh, you guys are so snob, so up your asses with." Up your asses with your food, and we just go like, we have mayo as a mother sauce. How can you say that? Mayo is the most down to earth sauce. It's the sauce we all know. Mayo is like a good friend. You can't be friend with Hollandaise. It's not your friend. It's nobody's friend.
It's an acquaintance.
Exactly. It's an acquaintance. It's like a yeah. It's a bitching acquaintance.
You think so?
It's like. I think so. I think it's a very good sauce. Don't get me wrong. I love myself a good Hollandaise.
It's not as versatile though, I would say.
No, definitely not.
But maybe that's the thing. Mayo's like.
Give me an example.
You put mayo in the party, and it's like, hey man, I'm just gonna get on with everybody. I'm easy breezy, whatever. Like I like everybody. I got time for everybody. Whereas Hollandaise is like, eggs and well, what do you have Hollandaise with? For me, I feel like it's either eggs Benedict. Or some sort of green vegetables normally would be.
Fish could work.
Yeah, fish as well, I suppose.
Yeah, the lemony vibe could work with it. Chicken.
I'm not going to dip my chips into it though. Just for the American listeners, when I say chips, I mean what you would call fries.
French fries, I think.
They would call them French fries. That's right. Yes,
I think so.
But
or Liberty fries. No,
Liberty fries.
I heard that term as well. I don't know, but yeah. So Hollandaise poured over lushly on French fries.
Yeah, it's not quite the same.
That's on the brim of being disgusting.
Here you go. Look, here's another reason I think mayo is much more viscous, so it's got a lot more holding power. Like it can, as a dip to put stuff in, it's way more satisfying. As you run a chip through or fry, you run a French fry through Hollandaise sauce, it all just drips off.
If you say I'm going to bring mayo to your party.
People say, just bring booze. Why are you bringing mayonnaise?
Yeah.
Don't be a weirdo. It's like, no, look, guys, I brought a jar of mayonnaise.
Nobody says that ever. Exactly. Let's say you're hosting a party. Help yourself out. You've got things on the counter. There's ketchup, there's mayo. I don't even flinch. I heard what you said. If you say, there is Hollandaise, I was just like, who is this guy?
Look,
Hollandaise on the counter?
Here's the thing,
Who
man.
serves Hollandaise at the party?
You say that, but I can totally imagine you turning up at a dinner party and being like, well, not even a dinner party. It's not even a dinner party. Like, hey, Alex, there's a few of us getting together at the weekend. We're just going to have a few drinks. And you're like, yeah, cool. You turn up with your thermos flask at the door and people are like, you brought a hot drink? You're like, no, man, I brought some Hollandaise sauce. They just shut the door in your face.
Nah. First of all, if these people are persons I already know, they know it's Hollandaise in my thermal flask. And second, they know I'm going to be the one cooking for them, so they can't shut the door. They have to let me in. Even as annoying as I can be with food sometimes, they have to let me in because nobody wants to cook anyway. Is it the case? Yeah.
This is a little aside here, but because we were talking about booze and Hollandaise sauce, it made me think of, there's a drink called Advocaat or something like that.
Advocaat?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like kind of like eggnog looking type stuff. Here we go. This is what it's called. Advocaat. It must be a Dutch thing, much like hollandaise sauce.
Okay.
Which is like an alcoholic hollandaise sauce, right? Is that right?
You see, that's the thing. That's the thing with hollandaise. You can't be mentally stable and have hollandaise like.
Okay, so it's not like hollandaise, but it basic ingredients: egg yolks, aromatic spirits. So I guess vodka or whatever, sugar or honey, brandy. Anyway, it's not like that. But for a minute, I was just like, you turning up with a thermos flask. I was like, is it hollandaise or is it Advocaat?
It just emphasizes how mayo is superior. Because when I see that, I'm just like, exactly. Hollandaise is for exotic, temporary moments of your life where you only... And you said it yourself. It only works with ex-Benedict, ex-Florentine, these variations on it. And then maybe fish. Where for mayo, I just got a few fun uses of mayo. First of all, mayo with fish, brilliant. With chicken, amazing. With beef. Mayo works with beef. And I just heard about this very recently, last year, I think. It's like you cover a raw steak with mayo, and then you sear it with it. And I was like, ugh, that sounds absolutely awful.
Yeah, for the record, I'm screwing my face up in disgust because it. All right, go ahead.
And then try it. You take a piece of, like a ribeye. Take a piece of ribeye. No. Take a ribeye would work, I guess, and any type of thick steak. You basically smear mayo on it,
right?
And then you sear it in a cast iron skillet or in a skillet.
Why?
You wouldn't believe what happens afterwards.
You're right. I don't believe what happens afterwards.
You cannot not believe because you don't know the outcome yet.
Come on, then. What is it?
Okay, sorry. It's you get an amazing crust on it, a beautiful crust, like super caramelized, amazing Maillard reaction, and you can't even taste the mayo vibe no more. It's just gone. And when I saw it, I was like, no, this doesn't work for me. It's disgusting. It's just putting me off, basically. And then when I made it, I was like, all right, so this works amazingly, man.
Okay.
So that's just another use of mayo. It's just another way to prove that mayo. Try to do this with hollandaise. Let me have a laugh. Please make a video out of it and put it on YouTube. I don't know if you're going to make views, but I'm going to be laughing at this video.
There might be 30 views. They'll all be you.
Possibly. I can't see how it could be as versatile as this one. Mayo.
Look, let me ask you a question about this. So, all right, look, we all get that you're passionate about this particular subject, and I think I know why. Because in your head, you're like, do you know who Robin Hood is? Mm-hmm. You're like, I've got
in a cave.
I've got to. There's this rich-poor divide, right? And it's to do with mayonnaise and hollandaise. And I'm gonna bring mayonnaise back to its rightful place.
Yes.
I'm gonna do it for the poor people out there.
Come on.
Who don't have 2 pennies to rub together, but they've got a big vat of mayonnaise that they're dipping their chips into. And you're like, I'm the savior of the people,
rise,
the working people.
Rise.
So I know that's how you think of yourself, but most people probably just think, dude, it's
on a horse, on a white horse.
It's a yellow sauce and a white sauce. What's,
Do you think so?
Well, maybe, but here's what I want to ask. How have you got to this point of being so passionate about it? At what point in the Saucer series did you go, I am unlocking the mysteries to the universe with this particular thing? Because you didn't... Here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say. We were talking about the Sauce series and how we were happy with it. And we did a certain amount of exploring of ideas and writing and thinking about how the series might go. But obviously, because this is not... there's a certain element of documentary to this. You discover things along the way that you didn't know were going to happen. We didn't plan for this to end up being the final series that was based around this issue. That was never in the initial plan. So
no, absolutely not.
So at what point did you find this out and go, this is the thing. This is the thing that it has to revolve around?
I think it came out very late in the series. I discovered about the problem with classifications and the selection being wrong very early in the series, because I went to the library very early on in the first episode. So I immediately realized there was a problem. I wasn't very clear about what exactly was the problem, where it could potentially come from.
But
I discovered that towards the end. But it became personal. The fight became personal when I published
the fight. This guy.
Go on. It's a personal fight. I'm not saying it's a fight for everybody. It's a very subjective approach, but it's mine.
You're tortured. I can tell that.
Exactly. When I made, I think it's the 11th episode of the series called How to Never Fail at Mayo Again, in between brackets, thank you science.
Mm-hmm.
That episode, I knew mayo was a cool sauce, but when I made that episode, I was like, wow, I didn't know it was that cool. I didn't know mayo was such a great sauce. And then when I saw that, it also gave mayonnaise credit point for me.
Mm-hmm.
In my mind, I just like, wow, it really is an amazing sauce. Even from a science point of view, it's mind-blowing.
So that, combined with the fact that you had this sort of niggling thing at the back of your brain from the start of the series that something is wrong with this classification, combined with it.
Yes, but the problem is that what I had in mind in the early days of the series was more like the classification is wrong from a science point of view, because there is too much redundance among the 5 mother sauces. The Espanol sauce is a brown sauce. The velouté sauce is almost like
exactly
the
same.
Espanol sauce.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
The only difference is that you don't roast the bones.
But the process of making the sauce is essentially the same idea. Ruthic and stock.
Exactly. So how can these be 2 different mother sauces? I thought we were looking for roots. I thought we were looking for defining sauces of the modern world. It's definitely not the case. Bechamel might be a little different. Sauce tomate, it's complicated. From a science point of view, it's all over the place. So I was really annoyed by this. But then all along the series, and we had multiple chats about this, it's very complicated to find a classification that works both from a science point of view or from a logical point of view and from just a practical point of view.
Yeah, it's actually, that's an interesting, because I do remember this conversation of us saying whether we were going to attempt to have an episode where we would reclassify sauces in a way that made sense. And we talked it around and around and around for so long that we realised actually every single individual could have a different classification that makes more sense to them. I think one of the analogies that we had when we were talking about that is from a scientific point of view, if you look at lots of vegetables and fruits, lots of things that we consider as vegetables are actually fruits. So, for example, tomatoes, peppers, aubergines, courgettes, squash are all fruits from a scientific point of view. But from a culinary point of view, it makes no sense to classify them as fruits because they're in the savoury realm that we would use them in that sense. It
makes a lot of sense. So why would you bother trying to prove the world that these are fruits? I mean, we know it. All right, I'm just fine with it. And so it's the same. That's exactly the conclusion that I came up with in the end. I thought this is a useless fight to try and redo the classification. But the Hollandaise and mayo, I don't think it's useless. I don't think it's pointless. Yeah, well, I made my share of Hollandaise. I'm not saying it's a bad sauce. If you remember well in the series, there were 2 episodes about Hollandaise and only 1 about mayo. So I still think it's a very valuable sauce. The first episode was about how to make classic Hollandaise sauce. It was called the cornerstone of Eggs Benedict. And the second one was how to make it easier. A hack on making Hollandaise sauce. It was a fun challenge where I was trying to beat a record that I invented myself. And I invited all the viewers to do the same which they did. And I would say that 90% of people who submitted a video have beaten my record.
Well, yeah, but that makes sense, right? If you're going to put a video, it's like, hey, I've done Alex's Eggs Benedict challenge, and it's 3 minutes slower than what he did.
Yeah, that would be stupid. Yeah, you're right. But I was very pleased with having everybody trying to replicate that sauce. The whole point of the video where I was hacking the traditional Hollandaise sauce recipe was just to find a way to make it easier. Because I can sense that it's a pain to make. The bain-marie, the double boiler, the thing where you have to whisk and you make some sort of a sabayon, so that's a fluffy... How do you describe a sabayon? It's like a fluffy egg yolk mixture that has fat folded in it. It's not even with fat, sabayon, is it? I can't remember.
Exactly, I thought it was just the sort of bain-marie and the eggs that you whisk until they become fluffy, and then you start to add in the fat. Man, I remember doing a thing where I'd sort of said to friends that I think it was like someone's birthday, and we were going to have a day where we went round to their house and have, a few drinks throughout the day and maybe a few different things. But everyone decided, let's do it earlier than we would normally do it. Why don't we do a brunch thing? Mm-hmm. You can go out sometimes into these bottomless brunches where you go, they'll keep refilling your champagne, and you can have.
Never heard about these.
Well, it's a British thing, so booze starts at.
I guess it is.
And then normally there's like brunch type foods, and one of the main things that people always have is Eggs Benedict. And I was like, sure, well, since we're doing it at your house, let's do one of them. You sort the booze out, I'll do the Eggs Benedict. And arrogantly kind of thought, it'll be fine. And I was making it for, I think there were 6 of us. So anyway, I start doing it, and I'm like, oh, the hollandaise is nearly there. Muffins are in under the grill, eggs are poached, whatever, and then the hollandaise splits. So then I have to start again, but I think, well, my temperature control's not on because they'd got an electric hob, and I'm used to doing it with a gas hob, and that was my excuse. I couldn't quite measure the temperature right.
I mean, did it work, that excuse?
I mean, they by this point were drunk, so it didn't really matter. But then they were like, "Oh man, okay, we're getting hungry," and I was like, "Okay, cool, but I can't do it as fast as I did it last time because I might mess up the hollandaise." And then I'm trying to make the sabayon, and it's not thickening up. It's a nightmare of a dish when the pressure is on, and you've got that many people that you're trying to prepare it for, getting everything to come together at the right time, and getting the hollandaise to work. Mm-hmm. So I can see why you wanted to come up with a method that was like, this is simplified.
And the method, I did not invent the blender method. Basically, if you're not familiar with it, it's like you place egg yolks in a blender, and you pour over, you turn it to high speed, and you pour over some boiling hot butter, melted butter, and it just whips up a hollandaise. That's amazing. It works extremely well. That's way more reliable than the original version. In terms of flavor and texture, I see no differences.
I mean, I'm in that camp when it comes to mayonnaise. I always use the stick blender method, which
I think there's a difference.
Maybe I need to do a side by. Well, okay. Here's the thing: have you done a side by side test?
No, I did not.
Me neither. But I always do the blender method, and you always use the hand whisk one.
Yeah, but you told me you can get a super firm mayonnaise using the immersion blender method.
Absolutely.
Can you describe how to do it?
Yeah, there's one in the fridge now. Actually, I ought to go and get it to show you the firmness of it. So, as you get a jar that is only just wider than the head of the blender, because if it's too wide, the immersion, the emulsion doesn't form properly. So you take that jar, and I crack an egg into the bottom. Sometimes I put a garlic clove in, a little bit of salt, and then some sort of acid, not too much, maybe a couple of teaspoons, and it's either lemon juice or white wine vinegar or cider vinegar or something along those lines. And then I use 250 mils of oil. You can go more if you want, but that seems to be...
You dump it all in. All
into the jar.
That's amazing.
Bop, all those things in the jar. You put the immersion blender all the way down to the very bottom of the jar, and then you turn it on, and you will see if you're looking at the side of the jar, what happens is the mayonnaise starts to form at the bottom of the jar, right? And so there's mayonnaise at the bottom and then the oil at the top. Now, the blender slowly pulls in the oil from the top into the mayonnaise. Now, and as you found out with whisking, as it starts to form more and more mayonnaise, you can start to lift the blender head out and it will incorporate the oil more quickly. The whole process in terms of actually blending, 30 to 45 seconds, I would say. And,
That's amazing.
And you've got a mayonnaise.
Such an amazing way to make mayo. Why do we even bother learning another way to do it? Same for Hollandaise. They shouldn't even teach the old version. It's only traditional because it's painful.
Mm. What do you mean it's only traditional because it's painful? As in...
just imagine you're a culinary student.
Mm-hmm.
You're being trained to be a chef in the future in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you learn the traditional way to make eggs Benedict? To make sauce hollandaise, where it's faster and more reliable to do it in a blender than the French traditional way, and it doesn't even taste better.
I think that
why do we self-inflict punishments?
Generally, when those things happen, like, let's learn the old way of doing things. It only really is applicable if you are picking up fundamental lessons about that thing. Then that will help you to understand. For example, the mayonnaise thing in the jar. There's no real way of understanding what's going on with the emulsion. But in your mayonnaise video, when we can see the oil droplets going in and being divided and slowly being emulsified into the thing, doing it that way is a more visual representation of what's actually going on. But once you understand that, you don't necessarily need to continue to use that method. It's almost there just as a way to go, let's see what's actually happening.
Yeah. In fact, I'm not in the restaurant business, so they probably only use hacks. Because I can totally understand what you're saying. Understanding it first is a plus, because you understand what you're doing, and then just having some sort of a streamlined version to use afterwards. I can see. Yeah, just imagine you have to make liters of hollandaise, like in a diner. That would be just the worst.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the worst. It's so the chances you would fail are so important. What do you do with customers?
I think you
banging at the counter.
You just say, "I've just split that sauce. Are you okay to just wait another 30 minutes whilst I make another one? Have some more champagne. It's cool. Get more drunk."
Exactly. Oh, you can always. I mean, if they're totally drunk, you can always serve them scrambled egg with a thin mayo on it. Yeah, it's just this is eggs Benedict.
This hollandaise sauce tastes like custard. You're just drunk. It's not custard.
No, I don't think they would say that. They would say, "Wow, this hollandaise is amazing. I never had such a good hollandaise." Well, guess what? It's just mayo. Anyways, you get my point in all this. I'm all for mayo. I think you are too. You're on board with this.
Yeah, 100%. I'd love to say that we could both come down on either side of this argument, but I think it's undebatable that hollandaise, it feels like it's the reserve of the elite. It feels like it's something that I sometimes don't feel worthy of having. It's like, low life like me should not be eating this hollandaise. It's far too posh for me. Let me just have my mayonnaise and I'll feel comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah, get me fish and chips and I'll be fine with this.
The insertion of "get me fish and chips." Very good. Alex.
You see.
Very good.
See, I'm working my English, okay?
Yeah, well, you are. Man, you're British English specifically as well.
You see?
I like that.
It's been an absolute pleasure to discuss this non-fight with you then, Josh.
Yeah.
It's a non-versus.
It's a non-fight.
It's a non-fight. That's all I wish for this year, man. Absolute pleasure. So let's just crown mayo and call it a day. You cool with this?
Absolutely cool with it. I'm going to head to the fridge and eat me a spoonful of mayo.
So Hollandaise is dead.
Yeah.
Long live mayo.
Exactly.
Have a good one, man.
All right. See you next time.
Bye-bye. Ciao.